The South African Constitution requires municipalities to provide basic services to all members of the community. The Constitution, therefore, places a responsibility on the South African government to ensure that it provides such services equitably, including providing assistance to poor households, as well as community members who may be struggling to afford to pay for such basic services. Welcome back to Public Administration 101. Proudly brought to you by Kano Consultants. For professional advice you can trust. In this video, we will be looking at how South African municipalities ensure that they provide basic services to members of the community who may be struggling to afford to pay for such services through the government's Indigent Management Program. We will therefore discuss what is an Indigent Management Program, as well as what is included in an Indigent Management Policy. But first, please make sure you subscribe to this channel for more content like this. And remember to turn on the notification button to be notified about new videos. Thank you for subscribing. Now let us get into today's video. In 2001, South Africa adopted a policy which was intended for the provision of free basic services to poorer households. Under this policy, municipalities are tasked to identify indigent households that would receive services for free or at substantially subsidized rates. The free basic services include provision of free basic water, provision of free basic energy, including electricity and other alternative modes of energy, provision of free basic sanitation, including waste disposal, provision of free basic refuse removal. To ensure that the provision of these free basic services is done, the South African government, through the then Department of Provincial and Local Government, developed and adopted a national framework for municipal indigent policies as part of a broader social agenda, as well as part of an anti-poverty strategy. The adopted framework provides a high-level plan to guide the national initiative to improve the lives of the indigents within communities. The adopted framework also provides a foundation for municipalities to develop their own indigent policies in order to provide basic municipal services for everyone. The adopted framework also provides a basis for actions to be taken by the national government to assist municipalities in providing access to such basic municipal services. It can ultimately be said that the framework provides a guideline for the improvement of access to free basic services, as well as the improvement of the lives of indigent members of the community. So, who is therefore considered an indigent member of the community? In the South African context, and in terms of the National Framework for Municipal Indigent Policy, an indigent is defined as anyone who does not have access to the following goods and services: sufficient water, basic sanitation, refuse removal, environmental health, basic energy, healthcare, housing, food, and clothing. The South African government considers these goods and services as essential necessities for the survival of an individual. However, only 3 of these are the sole responsibility of the South African municipalities, these being water supply, sanitation, and refuse removal. In order to properly provide these basic services, particularly to indigent members of the community, South African municipalities are required to have relevant policies. One such policy is the Indigent Policy. There can never be a uniform, indigent policy for all South African municipalities. However, the National Framework for Municipal Indigent Policies prescribes for the following to be considered when a municipality drafts an indigent policy. The policy needs to identify who will be considered indigent, meaning The policy must define who will qualify for government assistance. Essentially, municipalities need to determine a set of criteria to be met in order to qualify for indigent government assistance. Such indigent policy also needs to define what government assistance will be provided, as well as define the extent of the government assistance. For example, the criteria to be used in order to determine the number of free units of electricity units to be provided, or the number of free liters of water to be provided. The policy must further outline and indicate a process to be followed in order for indigent members of the community to qualify for government assistance. For example, what application form must be completed, and where such application form can be submitted, including timelines and approvals. The indigent policy will also need to list and communicate the criteria that will have to be met in order for the government assistance to cease. Essentially, when will government stop providing such assistance? Will it, for example, be at the death of the applicant, or when the applicant relocates to another municipality, or when there is change in the applicant's economic status, etc.? The indigent policy must also outline measures which will be used to monitor the implementation of the policy and the provision of the government assistance. The policy needs to also outline how the municipality intends to report on the various aspects of the policy, including providing for the establishment of a department or unit within the municipality to manage the implementation of the objectives set out in the indigent policy. In conclusion, the eradication of poverty is an important priority for the South African government. That is why provisions need to be made for vulnerable households. Local government must therefore formulate policies to address the needs of the poor. This means that municipalities must formulate and adopt policies, such as the indigent policy, to ensure that poor households have access to essential basic services. However, South African municipalities need to ensure that the indigent policies they adopt and implement are in line with, or at least comply to, the adopted National Framework for Municipal Indigent Policy. This has been yet another video in this series of Public Administration 101, proudly brought to you by Kano Consultants. For professional advice you can trust. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Consult Kano.